Well, good morning. My name is Dave Cox. I'm pastor of Bethel Evangelical Church in Nelson. I know many of you, but I know some of you won't know me. I wish I could see you. I wish I could be with you, but this is the next best thing. Now, I know this is meant to be a morning devotion, and apologies if this isn't the sort of happy rise and shine message you were hoping for this morning, but the reality is that today you are going to feel the pressure to sin. And I know that's the case because every single day of your life has been like that, and the same for me too. We can't live a single day without being enticed and pressured to sin and actually giving into it as well. So we need to prepare for it. Prepare for another day of life in this world. Now, Hebrews 4 verse 15 and 16 say this about Jesus. It says, "For we do not have a high priest who cannot sympathize with our weaknesses, but was in all points tempted as we are, yet without sin. Let us therefore come boldly to the throne of grace, that we may obtain mercy and find grace to help in time of need." Jesus, that verse tells us, was without sin. And in fact, what the Bible teaches us about Jesus is not just that he didn't sin, but that he couldn't and cannot sin. If Jesus could, in theory, sin, that means he couldn't be trusted. That means he could break his word. Jesus cannot sin because he's God. But then that leads us to ask a question. Okay, well, in that case, in what sense was Jesus tempted? Like that verse says. Was he tempted just in the way that if someone, I know you can't see my window here, if someone comes up and holds a piece of cake outside the window, well, I'm not tempted because I can't reach through the window and grab it. Was Jesus just tempted theoretically, but in a way he couldn't actually do anything about? Well, no. A temptation is an enticement to sin, an enticement to do something wrong. For you and me, they come from three different directions. Here are the three ways you need to keep your eyes peeled as you go through the day. Firstly, they come from the world, from other people, from the TV, from things you hear on the bus to work, from people in the office. You're going to hear stuff. People are going to tempt you and encourage you to sin. And then secondly, there's the devil as well. Sometimes God allows him to put things under our noses and they encourage us to sin. They're saying, go on, do it. But then thirdly, sometimes we need nothing out there in the world to encourage us to sin. Sometimes we can be all by ourselves and the TV's not on and there's nothing distracting to us. It's just our own sinful desires and temptations to sin. So be on guard today in those three different directions. Now, sometimes our temptations in life in this world have nothing to do with our sinful desires at all. Imagine, and I know this sounds a little bit horrific, but imagine you're walking down the street and someone runs up to you and grabs you and shoves a gun in your hand and says, shoot someone. You choose, shoot someone over there, shoot a passerby. It's an enticement to sin. But you have no desire in you at all to do it. The enticement to sin is coming from out there, but not from within you. Now that's what it was like all the time for Jesus. We have three sources of enticing to sin. Jesus has two, the world and the devil, but not his flesh, not his desires. He never has a desire to sin. Now, the reality is that you and I, we do give in to temptation. We feel like saying something and we know it's wrong, and the pressure builds up like more and more air being pumped into a balloon, and at some stage it pops and we say what we think and the pressure goes. We've sinned, we've given in. Jesus never gave in. And that meant his life was a prolonged assault from the world and the devil on his integrity, his honesty, his obedience to his Father. So in what sense was Jesus tempted? He was constantly being pressured and pushed by this world and Satan to do things that were wrong. A bit like if this guy hands you the gun and says, go on, shoot someone. And he keeps haranguing you and bribing you and egging you on, and he just won't leave you alone hour after hour. He keeps on saying, go on, do it, go on, do it. That's the sort of pressure Jesus experienced. So if you give in to pressure today and you do something wrong, the good news is that Jesus never did. Like that balloon, he continued to absorb it, and he never gave in. He withstood tremendous pressure. That means that Jesus truly is without sin. It means he truly understands the pressure you and I feel. And it means we have a perfect Saviour, a truly perfect Saviour we can run to when we do fall and sin. So be on your guard in those three directions today. But if and when you do fall, run to your perfect Saviour, tempted at all points, but without sin.